Back on the TYT Sports. So Bryce Harper and Hunter Strickland's suspensions came through. Harper's was just reduced to 3 games. Hunter Strickland's is sticking at 6 games. It is inexcusable that Hunter Strickland isn't suspended for at least 10, 20, 30, 40, even upwards of 50. And people think that's a really bad hot take. The unwritten rules of baseball, which Bryce Harper has talked about being dumb, because they were inscribed in what, 1797, when cricket was the baseball that we were playing back with Columbus and powdered wigs and the days where our people were the same. You know, before that we separated from.
I never thought I'd be tossed into a history lesson. Yeah. Courtesy of Jason Rubin. I'm happy to hear it.
I don't like the unwritten rules of baseball. I've been over this a couple of times when I do a baseball clip. Pretty much the only time I do a baseball clip is to complain about them. But the point being is that they're stupid. They've always been pretty stupid, but there used to be a chivalrous code of baseball where you don't show up the pitcher if you hit a home run, even if it's in the NLDS when you're down, and then you do it again to him. And I've said this time and time again, we talk about as a country that the NFL is no fun because you can't celebrate and dance after you score. But because of the unwritten rules of baseball, you're not allowed to show up a pitcher who made a mistake and you took his pitch 500 feet over the right field or left field or center field wall and put your team on the board the fastest way possible, because that would be rude. I get it, Jose Bautista's an obnoxious a-hole when it comes to the way he celebrates it, but guess what? It creates more headlines, narratives, drama. It's good for the
rivalries.
Sport. And so is fighting. But Rob Manfred really effed up, because the context of the situation was the 2014 National League Division Series MLB playoffs. Bryce Harper took Hunter Strickland, the San Francisco Giants pitcher, deep twice. Now, Hunter Strickland has waited 2.5 years to face Harper again. He hasn't gotten that chance. So if it happens sooner, I guarantee you Hunter Strickland's throwing a 99-mile-an-hour fastball at his ass. And that's what he did. Now there's another take that is, well, what if it hit his head? It didn't hit his head, bad what if. And also the idea of, like, if you're gonna talk about what if it hit his head, he charged the mound. They're gonna fight each other. It's an equal chance of injury there too.
Yes.
The point being is, when you throw at a hitter, according to these stupid unwritten rules, it's supposed to be because somebody else on your team showed up their team. Whether it be them, and get ready for how stupid this is about to sound, looking at their dugout if you round the bases. Can't do that. Can't do that, Francis. Can't look at the opposing team's dugout. Can't do that. If you take too long to round the bases on a home run, can't do that. It's rude. It's wrong. Unless you're Manny Machado for the Baltimore Orioles, who was pretty much pegged at 17 times, it felt like, by the Boston Red Sox, and he took like 5 minutes to go around. Very slowly, nice slow trot. So Hunter Strickland pegs him. The reason I say Hunter Strickland really should have gotten about a 20 or 25 game suspension is because you cannot just purposely throw at a hitter for a grudge you are holding against that player for 3 years.
I don't have too many hot takes now and again when it comes to my take.
What do you think about the helmet
That's
throw?
what I'm saying. I don't have too many hot takes when it comes to my thoughts on baseball, but prepare yourself. I'm gonna have a couple of hot takes. Bryce Harper, I know, is like the golden boy of baseball.
No, not the golden boy. But
I like
he's
him
the most important player in baseball.
I like him a lot because of what he stands for. It stands for a change, a momentum shift, almost, in baseball. But one thing I have to say about Bryce Harper is that he represents, in that moment, how I think my life is going versus how my life decides to show me how it's going when he threw that helmet. That was for a baseball pitcher.
No, he's a hitter, but that's fine.
But hitter as well, he can throw as well.
Yes, he's an outfielder.
I actually have a friend of mine who played against him in high school and told me how fast he can throw. To throw your helmet so badly, that was the worst helmet toss I have ever seen in my life. But Jason, it gets worse.
He hit him
with the helmet. No, he didn't. He hit some poor kid who was sitting.
No, not with the helmet. He got a punch off.
No. Right. And the next thing, right, for baseball being the American sport with the manliest of men and how soccer dives and we're all pussies and blah, blah, blah. One of the worst fights I've ever seen.
Well, the problem with the benches clearing brawl is there's too many people involved.
Yeah.
Also, Matt Morse of the Giants, and was it Hunter? Who was it? Hunter Penn and another Giants player hit each other and hurt each other. They didn't know.
I get it. It was like, it was chaotic. There was people just pushing everyone. I'm just thinking about, like, in the split seconds, right? So Harper hit him with a punch slap, because it hit this part. I watched it.
He did give
one of those. Strickland seemed to catch him better. He at least dodged the punch and threw something better. But I was just like, at least with the Bautista example, man, that guy got pecked.
Right, but so there was an issue with that as well. And man, for the commissioner, Joe Torre is the one that messed this up. And of all people, Joe Torre, you were in your fair share of benches clearing brawls for reasoning that was mostly due with the fact that players in the 80s were, some of which were just doing cocaine in the dugout, and others of which were literally just juicing in the dugout. There's a lot more hot-headedness. But baseball's thrilled about this. Commissioner Manfred will never say it, but man, is he happy that like morning sports radio led off with Bryce Harper, Hunter Strickland, fight, baseball, fight, baseball, fight. Like they were thrilled because no game in itself would ever warrant in a time where the NBA Finals, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, the Champions League for those like NBC who does cover it in their fair share would ever cross over the threshold like early May baseball. Mid-May baseball is not necessarily what happened. But they were thrilled about it. But the fact that he gave a 2-game separation and suspension, Bryce Harper did nothing wrong. And what they're penalizing Bryce Harper for is not the fact that he fought, the fact that he landed a punch. And I know this because Rubin Odor clocked Bautista. And that is the reason he got a bigger suspension. If he swung and he missed,
they punish him for being a better fighter.
I swear this is something I've seen over the last few years. If you get a good punch off, oh man, that's got to be 5
that punch
games.
Was, I mean,
that's a 5-game punch.
That turned my head. I remember that specifically.
I'm
by the
happy
way,
that they reduced it, but still.
Like that must have been painful. That looked like it was right in the hip bone.
Who?
Like the ball.
It's a 90. Here's the problem. So they say the what if of like what if it hits you in the head if he misses. I understand why you say that what if, but it didn't happen, so you have to talk about what did.
They're talented athletes and they prize themselves on aim, so I'm pretty sure he knew where he was going to hit him.
The other problem with this is the fact that most of the time that you're trying to hit a batter, you're not throwing it not close to 100 miles an hour to him. You want to send the message. But Bryce Harper's always been a part of this conversation because if another player does something so much as look at another team's dugout, I still think it's the dumbest thing ever. Looks at another team dugout or show up any of the opposing team after you helped your team get a lead or somehow score. They throw at Harper because he is their best player. That's how the unwritten rule works. And what's crazy is you got people like Mike Trout who play the game perfectly to the best extent possible. And it doesn't matter what Mike Trout would do because of how he plays. Bryce Harper's more important than Mike Trout to baseball. And I know there's gonna be Mike Trout fans who think that's insane. I believe Mike Trout's one of the greatest players we've ever seen in this game. Compared to Bryce Harper, if you have to choose one, if baseball had to choose one, they'd kick Mike Trout out of the league so quickly in favor of Bryce Harper. They would. And he's the most important guy in the league. And we need more people like Bryce Harper to make baseball fun again. That was his mission, if you remember the hat.
Oh yeah.
I want a hat.
Good one. That was a great way to take it out.
Matha.
Matha?
No, Mebfa.
Mufa?
Make America fun again. So, Matha. All right.